We have a list of speakers here today, various politicians, union speakers, different locals, and we're going to just try to encompass this event and mark this event as best we can. It is the 80 years of the Battle of Ballantyne Pier, a significant piece of Vancouver's history, which, in my opinion, is overlooked by Vancouver as a whole and British Columbia, because it is actually Canada's history, and it's very important. More and more each year it seems to pick up a little bit, and we get to educate people more and more. My name is Steve Nasby. I'm the second Vice President of ILW Canada. I'm the Chair of Education. And I've sort of taken it on that I want to educate our youth more and more. And I'm glad I see some of our youth here. Some of the guys I actually talked to from work this morning on Graveyard showed up here, so thank you for that. Our first speaker today is Mike Marino. He's the ex-president of the Pensioners Union, a member of Local 500. And I want to ask Mike to come on up now, please. Thank you.
Yay, Mike! Well, I'm very happy to see that we have so many people here today, more than last year and more than the year before, so it is getting larger every time. We're here today to remember an event that took place 80 years ago and to honor the people who took part in that event, which is the Battle of Ballantyne Pier. June the 18th, a long time ago, I guess ancient history to a lot of younger people here today, but a very good example of how far employers will go and how far they're allowed to go to break unions when they have the support of the politicians in power, the media, and their police forces. So it's something we should keep in mind. It does matter who gets elected.
That's right.
On this day in 1935, when 1,000 striking longshoremen and their supporters marched down to Ballantyne Pier here in East Vancouver, protesting the fact that the employers had hired scabs to do their job. They had been locked out for supporting their union brothers in Powell River when they had loaded a ship there with non-union labor. They were met by the chief of police. They were ordered to disperse. They refused, and they were attacked by police on horseback, beating them with clubs. They were tear gassed. They actually had machine guns set up on the dock in case they were needed, but they weren't used. And the violence didn't stop once they got these people off the dock. These striking longshoremen had to be taught a lesson. The violence continued as the police on horseback rode up and down many of the streets in the area of Ballantyne Pier, throwing canisters of tear gas into groups of longshoremen, into their union hall and first aid station, and continuing to beat them with those clubs. This was the first time tear gas was used against workers in Canada. This was a planned response to what the employers were expecting after seeing the organizing that was going on a few years earlier on the west coast of the United States. Excuse me for a minute. And the employers felt it was time to break this longshore union before things got out of hand, as they had done before in 1923. On May the 9th, 1934, workers up and down the West Coast went on strike. That strike went on for 83 days. It even included a general strike where they shut down the city of San Francisco. They had her shut right down. There were 7 men killed during that strike. Killed by police, killed by company security guards, and killed by one man who was a representative of the Federal Laboratory Company. He was sent down there to look for business. And he reported back to his bosses, and these are his exact words, that he had shot a long-range projectile into a group of strikers. A shell hitting one man on the skull, from which he has since died. He goes on to say that, as he was a communist, I have had no feeling in the matter, and I'm only sorry I didn't get more. That was the mentality of the day on both sides of the border. It hasn't changed much since then. If workers are trying to organize anywhere in the world so they can improve their lot in life, it seems the first thing they do is to be smeared as a communist. It's as if only a communist wants decent wages, only a communist wants a pension, only a communist wants a safe work environment. They've smeared us all for years. There's millions of people in the world never realized they were communists just because they want a better life. Bunch of bullshit.
Hey!
Those American longshoremen returned to work after 83 days, and they won their main demand, which was a hiring hall with dispatchers elected by the membership. On July the 5th of every year in the United States, from Bellingham to San Diego, the docks are shut down for the day in remembrance of that strike and the price people paid to win it. It's called Bloody Thursday. Well, there's no way employers in Vancouver were going to allow that to happen here. They turned up the pressure. The strike was lost, and the union was broken. People were blacklisted and never worked on the waterfront again. Company unions were set up, and it was many years before a union was finally established that was controlled by the rank and file. Our union, the International Longshore and Warehouse Union. Some of our people have the idea that it couldn't happen again. That we're past that sort of thing. Well, tell that to the dockers in Liverpool who lost their jobs a few years ago. Tell that to the wharfies in Australia and New Zealand who had a hell of a fight to maintain their jobs. And tell that to trade unionists in Latin America and the rest of the world who are regularly beaten and murdered for trying to an attempt to organize unions controlled by the membership. It's a never-ending struggle. And when our employers feel the time is right, they'll try it again here.